Namaste, namaskaram, vanakkam, namo namaha, Jai Ganesha. So this podcast is Understanding Grief. Now, some of you know that we recently on Father's Day lost our little Yogi Guru Kuchala, our little divine ashram cat, actually the father of the ashram being the oldest. And certainly personally, going through tremendous grief. So here's something very interesting, and this podcast is really for all of you or any of you that are going through the grieving process, having lost a loved one, either animal and or human. And if you'd like, you could share this with others, because this is actually a pamphlet that I picked up in the veterinary office where I had Kuchala at his last moments. And it's simply entitled Understanding Grief, and there's no copyright on it. It's just simply from a pet compassion care line. And they give you actually a 24/7 grief support line to call to reach a counselor. And something very interesting. I mean, I've been to the hospital over the years and watched my Mata and Pita pass away and been there for other people. And I've been in some of the little chapel rooms they have. And perhaps they had a pamphlet like this, but I never really saw one. So this is kind of interesting that this pamphlet is coming from a veterinary's office. So it's very profound. Whoever wrote it, and nobody's taking credit for this, which is really kind of nice in itself. So nobody's taking credit for it, and I can't take credit for it, obviously. So let me just read it to you, and if it provides some relief to you, to those of you who are grieving, wonderful. So it begins, what is grief? Grief is a healthy and normal response to loss. Attempting to suppress grief can actually prolong the grieving process. Grief can feel like being lost. The familiar things we relied on to live each day are gone. It is also common to replay the last moments of your beloved pet's life repeatedly in your mind. Of course, you can also think about your human loved ones. And no one can provide a magic cure for grief. When grief is new, it is common to feel exhausted, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Interesting. As a side note, you can listen to our podcast on grieving and an ode to Kuchala, because we understand that this is actually expanding our experience of our Atmana, as that divine Atmana is within us and in our animal friends too, as it leaves their physical body. So back to the pamphlet. Changes in appetite, sleeping patterns, or health are frequently reported. Those who are grieving often describe feelings of being out of control, isolation, and loneliness. Things that seemed so important before may now seem trivial. Others may experience a sense of, quote, life isn't fair, unquote, or being in a tunnel or fog. All of these feelings are normal and part of the grieving process, which follows no organized plan or schedule. Don't be surprised if you start to feel better and then feel as if a wave has hit you. There will be ups and downs in the process of grieving. The purpose of healthy grieving is not to, quote, get over, unquote, the death of a loved one, but to integrate the experience of a pet's death into present life. In this process, it is not unusual for certain memories of your beloved pet to become blurred. This does not mean that you are forgetting your best friend or that your love is diminished. The truth is, you will, in capital letters, always love this very special member of your family. The hope is that as time goes on, the feelings of sadness will become less difficult. Eventually, the hope, Asha, is that you will be able to talk and even smile or laugh at good memories. Stages of grief. Denial. This stage helps you to survive loss. Your world can feel meaningless and become overwhelming. Denial is a common defense mechanism that helps to numb our emotions. Anger. The emotion we are most accustomed managing is anger, and it is a necessary part of the healing process. It is important that you allow yourself to truly feel this stage in order to move through it. Bargaining. A normal reaction to feeling helpless is to bargain, often followed by thoughts of, quote-unquote, if only. You may believe you could have done something differently to change the final outcome. Depression. This is typically when you really start to feel the impact of your loss. You may begin to retreat by being less social or less vocal about what you are going through. The final stage of grief, acceptance. Accepting your loss doesn't always mean you are back to normal or, quote-unquote, okay. This stage is about accepting your loss, recognizing this new reality is a permanent one, and knowing you will be okay. Symptoms of grief: crying, anxiety and fear, difficulty sleeping, frustration, loss of focus, abnormal behavior, questioning the purpose of life, fatigue, weight loss or gain, digestive issues, headaches, lowered immunity, aches and pains. Consider speaking to your doctor or a mental health professional if these symptoms continue for more than a year after your beloved pet's passing. Gentle reminders while grieving. Deafening silence. The silence in your home after the death of a pet will be excruciatingly loud. While the presence of even our smallest animal friends takes up a physical space, many times the presence is felt with our senses. Acknowledging this will assist in preparing for the many emotions. The bond with your beloved pet. The relationship shared with your pet is special. There will be people who think you should not mourn for your pet, or who tell you that you should not be grieving as hard. Your grief is normal, and the relationship you shared needs to be mourned. Grief can't be ranked. Sometimes our heads get in the way of our heart's desire to mourn by trying to justify our emotions. Some people want to rank their grief. While this is normal, your grief is yours alone and deserves care and attention. And then they finally end up with 24/7 grief support is available to all through our Pet Compassion care line. Call to reach out to a grief counselor today, and then they give a number to call. So I hope this has been some inspiration, some hope. Remember, hope is important in life. This is what we call Asha. So as we all go through these ups and downs. So love and blessings to all of you going through grief and going through the grief of others, helping them with their compassion. So blessings to all, and if you'd like to share this with others, please do so. And know that you are not alone. And hope you find peace in your life. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.